This is the regular meeting of the Mobile City Council. Please stand for our invocation led by Father Elias Stevens, Annunciation Greek Orthodox Church, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence following the pledge.
Let us pray to the Lord. O Lord Jesus Christ, our God and Savior, you sent the Holy Spirit upon your disciples and apostles on the day of Pentecost. Pour forth your Holy Spirit in the hearts of the members of the city council, that they may discern and do all things according to your will, praising your most holy and magnificent name by every word and action. For you are the sanctification, and do all for glory, thanksgiving, giving work together with your eternal Father, your holy and life-giving Spirit, now and to the ages of ages. Amen. God bless you all.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd ask that we would stand in observance of a moment of silence for one of Mobile's finest, particularly as it relates to our carnival and our revelry, and also the field of education. The first African-American Mardi Gras queen is Aileen Jenkins Howard. She was crowned in 1940 along with the father of former U.S. Labor Secretary Alexis Herman, Mr. Alex Herman. But she didn't just make a mark in the Mardi Gras realm. She went on to become a very fierce and passionate advocate for the quality of education here in Mobile County, serving as assistant principal and principal, devoted church member and community worker extraordinaire. Really someone whose life and legacy will have an indelible mark on the city of Mobile for generations to come. We offer our prayers and our condolences to her family, to her church family, and we just want to take this time to again observe a moment of silence in honor of our original Mardi Gras royalty. Thank you.
Roll call. Vice President Manzi.
Here.
Councilmember Robertson.
Here.
Councilmember Small.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Daves.
Here.
Councilmember Rich.
Here.
Councilmember Gregory.
Here.
Statement of rules.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're glad to see each and every one of you. We're going to go over now the rules of the Mobile City Council and ask that each person would be cognizant and mindful to observe them. First, we ask that you turn off all or silence all electronic devices upon entering the meeting. If you'd like to address the council on a non-agenda item, you're instructed to contact the city clerk's office on the Thursday preceding the Tuesday in which you'd like to speak before 2 p.m. So that you might be added to the agenda. The subject matter identified must be pertinent to city Mobile business. Anyone who does not follow those rules will not be allowed to address the council. All speakers are granted 5 minutes to address the council. A bell will sound to indicate the end of 4 minutes. 1 minute remains for summarizing. The second bell indicates that your time has expired. When addressing the council, we ask that there be no personal address to any individual council member. All statements are to be made to me, the chair, and any subsequent council member who would like to respond or have commentary will be acknowledged. To maintain decorum, there will be no undue applause and or public outcry allowed. My number one goal is to maintain decorum. And so we ask that you follow these rules It's nothing personal against any individual who may be speaking before us. We have the rules here so that we can have a good flow of the meeting, and we appreciate your interest in your municipal government. Thank you.
Approval of minutes of January 29th.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved.
Communications from the mayor's office.
No communications.
Adoption of the agenda.
So move.
Second.
Been properly motioned and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Agenda is adopted.
Appeals, we have requests for a waiver of the noise ordinance on February 23rd on Dolphin Street and on February 23rd on South Water Street.
Second.
Properly motioned and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Public hearings today is the public hearing to determine if the structures at 5727 Deerwood Drive North, 453 Marine Street, and 2908 O'Shell Road are public nuisances and ordering them demolished.
Is there anyone here who'd like to speak or offer any commentary relative to the properties so mentioned? Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am here on behalf of someone.
If you could give us your name and address, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
My name is Philip Leslie. I'm a local attorney, and I represent Mr. Carlos Todd, T-O-D-D, who is in charge of his brother's estate. His brother's name is Leslie Todd. Now, Mr. Carlos Todd spoke with me recently and told me that he had received a letter from the city concerning the property at 2908 Old Shell Road, and that he wanted to tell me that he couldn't be here today, and he lives in Cleveland, Ohio. But anyway, he's had several people call him about the property, and he wants enough time to see if he can just sell the property outright, rather than having the city to take the property and all of that. So that's that. I would like to get some additional time for him to do that, if that is possible.
Mr. Doffenbach, if you could come and offer, just give us a general overview of where we are, and I don't know whether or not you heard commentary from Attorney Leslie relative to the request.
Mr. Chairman, before he speaks, he might be able to answer my question too, if you wouldn't mind. I mean, your orders, if I could ask a question, it could be answered by Mr. Devlin.
I don't have, no, sir, go ahead.
It appears from the photos that this house has burned. I'm not sure if the council for the landowner is aware of that, and it looks like it is about to fall down right now. And just like to know very specifically about the integrity of the building. Thanks.
That is an accurate, yes, that's an accurate description of the structure. It is vacant, it's burned, it's open. And that's the city's position. My position is that we go forward with declaring this a public nuisance. Now, I'd be more than happy to speak with the gentleman here and explain to him what he would need to do immediately, which would be to secure that property, to make sure that nobody can walk up to the structure or in the structure, and then also secure it. Then, yes, we could step back and give the gentleman time to sell the property.
So,
Mr. Richardson?
Mr. Doffenbach, if we vote on this today, how long do you think it would be before the city move in to take it down?
If the council declares this a public nuisance today, due to the condition, this is one of the highest priorities that we would take into account, and we would immediately begin requesting quotes for demolition. So as we have a 10-day appeal period, so once that appeal period passes, we're going to move forward with requesting quotes for the demolition process.
How long do you think that would take?
To receive the quotes and go forward with routing contracts, approximately 2 months.
Okay, so I wanted Mr. Attorney Leslie to know that he's gonna have about 2 months to make up his mind what he wants to do. The law states that if a property is open to vagrants, and if the foundation is undermined or it's open to vagrants, the city has no other course to take but to alleviate that condition. And so either he is going to do something or we are going to do something. So he would have 2 months to. I don't see how he's going to get more money if the house is already burned.
Well, it's complicated. I won't take up the time.
Okay.
But one thing I forgot to pass on to you all is that this property is also the subject of a lawsuit over in federal court. Simply put, the insurance company is giving him problems. So, but
Okay.
whether that has anything to do with you all, I'm not sure. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it. Anyone else that would like to speak or offer any commentary to the addresses referenced by our city clerk in the public hearing? If not, the public hearings are closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Robert Clopton.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Robert Clopton. I live at 2612 Charlotte Oaks Drive, Mobile, Alabama, 36695. I came here today and I thank you for allowing me a few minutes to introduce myself and why I'm here. I was recently elected president of the NAACP Mobile Branch, Unit 5044. I ran my responsibilities all of Mobile County, with the exception of Pritchard. I'm joined today by my executive director, Mr. J.T. Averhart, and our youth director, Mr. Reggie Hill. Our motivation and inspiration of the NAACP can be found in Paul's words in Philippians 2 and 3. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves. Our vision of the NAACP is to ensure a society in which all individuals have equal rights without discrimination based on race. To fulfill this vision, we have several objectives. One, to ensure the political, educational, social, and economic quality of all citizens. To achieve equality rights and eliminate race prejudice among the citizens of the United States. To remove all barriers of racial discrimination through a democratic process. To seek enactment and enforcement of federal, state, and local laws securing civil rights. And to inform the public of the adverse effects of racial discrimination and work to seek its total elimination. And finally, to educate persons as to their constitutional rights and to take all lawful actions to secure the exercise thereof, and to take any other lawful actions in furtherance of these objectives consistent with the NAACP's Articles of Incorporation. In order to fulfill our vision, we have to have the objectives. We have to have the inspiration and the motivation based on Paul's writings in Philippians 2 and 3. And our mission is what really drives us to where our goals. Our missions are for every citizen, to receive the political, education, social, and economic equality of the rights that is guaranteed under the Constitution to all persons, and to eliminate race-based discrimination. I want to thank you. I want to alert you to our upcoming Founders Day on February 12th. February 12th, 2019, we will be 110 years old. We will have our 110th year anniversary opposite in Stone Street Missionary Baptist Church on Sunday, February 10th, 3 o'clock. You all are cordially invited. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr.
Mr. Clopton, welcome, as the new president of the NAACP. We're glad to see you, that you came down. I would like to issue a challenge. If you're up for a challenge, I would like to issue one.
Some challenges.
For too long, we have perpetuated our own harm by admitting and declaring that we are not in the race, in the same race as other humans, that we're in some sub-race. Since you quoted the scripture, I want to go back to God when he made man. He said, let us make man in our own image. You can pull a picture out of yourself. That's your image. So we know what that is. But he went on to say, after our own likeness. So what is it about mankind that will make us all alike? It's the same as with the animal kingdom. We put them in species based on their function. We put dogs in the same species because they can bark. We put birds in this species, they can fly. We don't have a species. We're all put in the same race because we can stand upright. We can talk. We can walk. We can laugh. We can cry. We can think. We can plan. We can reason. And whoever can do that, wherever they are in the human race. There's no such thing as no black race and a white race. We are all in the same race, and we have allowed them to put us in some separate category. No, tell what they're doing. This business about racism is a hunk of junk. Whatever they're doing, name it and claim it. So I'm saying, I hope the day will come. There's no other nation under the sun that is categorizing its people according to race but America. And we did it because of slavery. It's time to drop it. This is Black History Month. This is part of my educational process. I'm glad you came. I'm in the same race. My ethnicity is African American because that's where my ancestors come from. My race is the human race, just like all other humans.
I accept your challenge.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Clopton.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate your willingness to continue the great leadership we've had here with the Mobile chapter at the NAACP. I'm happy to hear of your roster of support. You have an excellent executive director, Mr. J.T. Everhart. We've known him for years. He served his country valiantly, and I believe he'll do the same thing with the NAACP. We hear almost weekly from Reggie Hill. And so you got a great team, and I'm going to try my best to make it to your program on Sunday. Keep up the good work because the struggle continues and the work continues. Thank you.
It's going to be at the Stone Street Baptist Church. I'm a member of the Stone Street Baptist Church. I'll see you, son.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Leslie Young.
While Mr. Young is coming, let's recognize the student council from the Palmer Pillins Middle School. If they could stand, we're so happy to have you here. Mrs. Gray is their guidance counselor. Ms. Gray, will you raise your hand? And who serves as president? If you give us your name, yes, ma'am, what is your name? Mrs. Arnold? Ms. Arnold? President Arnold, glad to have you. Your vice president? Mr. Robinson? All right, Mr. Vice President. Secretary, Treasurer? All right. Give me your last name again. Ms. Vines? And I saw another hand. The treasurer, what's your name, sir? Well, hey, we appreciate all that you do. Many of us got our start serving on student councils, just as you all are serving. We thank you, Ms. Gray, for your leadership. And also, I see, is there any other instructor here with her? Ms. Lewis, counselor, and anyone else? Ms. Gill. Thank you all. Let's give them another big round of applause. Mr. Davis?
I would like to join Reverend Manzi in welcoming you to the meeting of the Mobile City Council. I was a student council president in my high school. It's a great way to learn leadership skills. I'm delighted you all are here, and I hope that you will take a sufficient interest in municipal government so that one day we can see one or more of y'all sitting up here. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Young. Yes, sir.
First of all, I'd like to say good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a great day because I'm still breathing this air.
Yes, sir.
God has blessed me as well as all those present. I come morning to thank this council.
Can we get your address, Mr. Young?
Wesley Young, 3058 James Street, Mobile, Alabama. I'm a member of District 5, proud member.
Thank you, Mr.
I come this morning to just thank this council for the investigation that you provided as it relates to the employees of public service. Consists of trash, sanitation, street departments. And as I had an opportunity to sit into the meeting with Mr. Sims and had a chance to dissect this investigation, it's a scolding investigation to me. But it is all I've been stating for one whole year. Everything in this investigation that Mr. Sims submitted to you all, I have provided to you with words from my heart and from my soul. The first question I'd like to ask Mr. Vice President, have the administration finalized their investigation at this time that they had started in June? Have you received a report from their investigation?
No, sir. Mr. Woods, any commentary you'd like to offer on that? Has the administration finalized their investigation as relates to Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's great. Have y'all received the report?
No,
Anybody
sir.
know? Okay, so we don't know whether that's true or not. I don't know. But anyway, let me move forward. In this investigation, the employees of public service, it's been justified for their actions when those employees came before this council pleading for help. The result of that was there were 10 employees who were terminated. 7 of them lost 70 days of work. 3 of them was terminated permanently. There was a committee set up that had a lady named Ms. Eileen Cochran, who was trying to find monies to make sure that the employees could receive raises. Her job was abolished at 2:30 in the afternoon and given 30 minutes to leave her office. Mrs. A.G. in the trash department had been the secretary there for 11 years, and she was told one day at 2:30, you will be removed from your position. I will put you someplace else in a room with a chair and a table. Michelle Kidd was removed from one position into the street department. Mr. John Collins just was recently moved last week, where he had served 19 years in the trash department, led that trash department some of those years, and he was removed from a supervisor position. Now he's been removed and put into a division, a sweeper, to learn how to do it after 26 years. So this continues. It's my understanding that this hurt and pain of those individuals that I just stated is deep, and I see it every day, and it's hurtful. And with this report, it verifies all the things that we've been talking about for over a year. I believe that those employees who lost those 70 days should be reinstated and paid back pay for those 70 days that they were off work. I believe all those employees that was terminated should be reinstated to their positions and given that pay and put back to work, because this investigation proves they were justified what they did and what the action that they took. Now, we can play games all we want to. Now, it's my understanding they feed them hamburgers and chicken sandwiches in the morning. That won't cut the mustard. I've also been told by some employees that the person that instigating all these problems is being told that we will put him in anger management. You can take the zebra and pull his stripes out, he's still gonna be a zebra. You're gonna slap him on the wrist and give him a 22.5% raise while we are doing an investigation. But yet still, when an employee comes before you all asking for help, you'll terminate them or take 70 days from them. I will not rest until these employees are treated like decent human beings for who they are. So I'm in the process now to request from you, Mr. Vice President, that you set up a committee to investigate the investigation, because we don't know what the investigation is going to contain or what we see here. Nobody has taken responsibility as far as concerned. I'll be back next week to explain to you all about this government, why it was formed, and how it was formed. And we'll have a better indication at that time as to how we move forward. Thank you, and have a great day.
Could I comment?
Mrs. Rich?
The council's committee accepted the report and turned it over to the administration and to the personnel board. All of the things that you mentioned that you're requesting this council to participate in is not in the lane of council. You know, I'm certainly willing to listen to you come back and tell us and give us pathways, but as far as, and I'll speak strictly for myself, getting that report and disseminating it was exactly what this council did and can do. And again, getting into even mayor, the administration's report, they don't have to send that to anybody up on this council. We do not get involved in the day-to-day operations of the city. It's strictly the mayor's organization and administration to do so. Thank you.
Kind of in the same vein as what was said by Mrs. Rich, I just want to make it perfectly clear that we've had the ability to move forward with council-initiated investigations since the passage of the Zogby Act in the mid-'80s. The very first time that ability was utilized was in this instance. And it was utilized because the 7 of us saw the outcry and the hue, the pleas coming from members of Public Works as it relates to issues that were going on in that department. And we unanimously agreed to initiate the investigation. We secured the services of an unbiased attorney who was well respected and is well respected across this region. And the administration gave total and unfettered access to members of that division and those divisions so that Mr. Sims could move forward in producing the work that he's produced to us. We've subsequently had a committee meeting. It was chaired by our chairman, Mr. C.J. Small. I served on the committee. Councilwoman Rich was on the committee. We received Mr. Sims' report in its entirety, and the direction from the committee was that it be disseminated both to the administration and to the personnel board. Now, I'm saying that to say that our options as it relates to moving forward from a legislative standpoint really are few and far between. And we've taken an unprecedented option in initiating the investigation, in funding the investigation, and then receiving those results from Mr. Sims so that the administration was privy to it so that the personnel board could be privy to it. Now, as a body, Mr. Young, your organization can take what you've learned and what's been secured and go in a myriad of ways to secure additional assistance. But we won't be in a position as a council to create a body to investigate the very same investigation that we just initiated and investigate the results of same investigation that we just accepted through our committee structure. And so I'm glad that Mayor Stimson is here. I'm hopeful is in possession of a copy of the report. Mr. Peavy, the executive director, is in possession of the copy of the report. Moreover, you have a copy of the report now. And so while you certainly are in a position to come down, and I'd love to meet with you to just get a better understanding as to how you would want us to move forward. I just want to remind the public and just say for the record that in the years of the existence of this council, we've never moved forward with a council-initiated investigation relative to a department of the city of Mobile. And we had complete cooperation. I have not heard from Mr. Sims in any respect that there was not unfettered access to department heads, to the rank and file, to the members, which all led to what we have in the report. And so while I appreciate your advocacy and I want to learn more about what your expectation might be, I want to just make certain that the public is aware of the steps we've already taken to secure what you have right now. Yes, sir. Mr. Richardson?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We hired a person to conduct the investigation, and we got the report back. The report justified that what the employees had been complaining about for more than 1 year actually happened to them. Now, what the administration is going to do, we don't know. Whether they're going to do anything about it, we don't know. By divine providence, there was a person, there was a person appeared just before you. You sit right up there. I would suggest you go and talk to Mr. Compton. You've heard over and over, there's nothing we can do, but we are not telling you that there's nothing can be done.
Right.
We just said we can't do it. If there's nothing coming forth from the administration, you need to do something. You understand what I'm saying? I ain't got nothing further to say.
Mr. Vice President.
Mr. Small?
Yeah, I did chair the committee, and also like to thank you and also Councilwoman Rich for being on that committee. That committee and that report has shed a whole lot of light on a bad, dark situation that was going on in the city of Mobile with the employees. If it's dealing with the employees, to me, it's dealing with the city at large. To me, that report verifies several things, that there was a deliberate plan to privatize trash in the city of Mobile. I mean, how you go from having 50-some odd employees to all the way down to, 20-some odd employees within, several years had brought very deep concerns to me. The way that people are treated, we already know that vulnerably that, these employees that work in this department, they are very low-paid employees, but still, it's a way that you treat anybody. I have a Doberman, a boxer, and I really believe if I really just treat them bad, they end up turning, on me. And for the employees to come down here and, risk, their jobs, and, they're, crying out for help. Mr. Young, we have done just about all we can do within our powers, by launching an investigation, but just as well as others have known that you know, to a certain extent, we have been threatened, you know, as council members. And just as well as, you know, employees, to me, as this report stated to me, that, you know, there have been retaliation, you know, among the employees. It's a catch-22. As Councilman Richardson said, you know, you got power, and power is in your hand. And there are several options that you can take. Options that you can go legally, and option that, you know, in a couple more years, it's time to go to the polls. But again, we legislate, we create the laws up here, but we don't administrate. People that administrate is to my left, and that certainly they want us to stay out their lane, and we're going to do as the laws state, stay out their lane. But again, you do have the power in your hand, and and I wish you to go on advocating for those employees, because to me, you know, they seem like they really don't have a voice, and you are their voice. And not saying not to come back down here. Welcome you to come down here. Welcome any citizen to come down here as long as it's dealing with city issues. And again, when you have unhappy employees that are being retaliated on, that is a city issue, because the work performance is not great if you're not in a happy place. But again, just keep on fighting for them, Mr. Young. And I do hope that the administration do take all this into consideration. I hear the cry from you, hear the cry from the employees, hear the cry from this council. But again, we don't administrate, we don't elect this. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Wood?
So if I may just quickly want to respond, you know, and first and foremost, in dealing with the executive committee or the executive branch's side of investigation, we did have some findings, but most of those findings deal with personnel issues that we don't typically discuss publicly. I appreciate you saying, and truthfully saying, that we gave the investigator unfettered access, which is what we did. None of the issues that are being touted as retaliatory are mentioned, because they're separate and apart, separate personnel issues, and that investigator did have unfettered access to employees and to documents. Nothing there to hide. But in the interest of going forward and letting you know what the administration has done and is already doing. So one of the suggestions, and we thought this might be it, was to look at training for our supervisors. That is an issue. And so we've already, and prior to the report coming out, started to provide coaching and training for our supervisors. One of the gentlemen referenced that earlier. That started already. Looking at the development of some of our guidelines dealing with chain of command and who deals with whom and how you report grievances. That is another step that we've already started taking prior to the report coming out, because we were able to discern that there were some issues. But particularly, we take issue with seeing that all of these things are confirmed. If you note two things that were referenced in the report, one was pay scale, and two was, of course, the supervisor. And I'll take them in that order. The pay scale issue, I think you'll find, and you'll probably receive documentation during that year-long discussion, that our public works folks are on par with both the county and their counterparts in our sister cities. And so that is something that we have tried to keep pace with and looked at actively doing even prior to these discussions and fixing those things as the discussion went on. As far as the supervisors are concerned, we've addressed those issues as well. And I will tell you that the termination issues are separate and apart from what we're dealing with here. Unlike most cases, you all actively got to see what was happening when the public works came down. You'll note that 26 plus people came down, voiced and exercised their freedom of speech. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. The instruction and the directive to return to work during an emergency situation, that became an issue. And you'll note that 7 people were able to return to work. 3 decided not to take those settlements, and the personnel board upheld those terminations. So I just want to give you all that informal focus. We don't have a written report. What we did was we go in and we deal with personnel issues just like we do, and separate and apart from the investigation. And note that those terminations were not mentioned in your investigation, even though Mr. Sims was given access to be able to talk to personnel and talk to our people about it.
Thank you.
Yes,
Mr. Mayor?
I want to tell you first that I was late this morning because I was attending a press conference with U.S. Attorney Richard Moore, where we had the Mobile Police Department, Sheriff's Department from Baldwin and Mobile County, the FBI, and U.S. Attorney Moore has let it be known that the U.S. Attorney's Office is not going to tolerate the shooting of cops, and that he is interested in getting people to the table to make sure that everybody understands that that's a position coming from his office, but he also wants to have collaboration so that how we can educate our young people, or those that maybe would be inclined to think about doing something like that. And he was very appreciative in his comments having to do with Bridging the Gap, which is a program that was started by the Mobile Police Department, which is now a nationwide program, which he's hopeful that will help stem this outbreak of police shootings that we had. I would say for the rest of this meeting, but I've got an 11:30 appointment, so I'm going to excuse myself, but next week I'll tell you about the meeting with the mayors of the other large cities. I just got back from meeting with the mayor of Birmingham, Montgomery, Tuscaloosa, and Huntsville, and we had a very productive meeting, but I'll share that with you next week. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the council? Not, Madam City Clerk.
Reggie Hill regarding ordinance 14005.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, in the absence of our mayor, to the administration, citizens and stakeholders of Mobile, good morning. Reggie Hill, 1007 Center Street. I rise today in regards to ordinance 14-005. Normally pre-council meeting, there's a little discussion about what's going on, but we seem to kind of skim past that today. So I just wanted to kind of get some clarifications, because as I recall from December when this was passed, the ordinance really reflected what I feel would have been in the best interest of the city. And as we look at some of the amendments that have been imposed into the contract now, I just want to know if the council has taken a different judgment on what was originally passed, and if there's any good reasoning to why these amendments would be accepted while this is here. I'll point to a prime example. We have 1144C, that's 11, the Code of Alabama 1975, which says that the powers of the city are vested within the council. It blatantly says that. We look at the policy that was prepared in December, which specifies how important that is for the city council to have those same powers and having the control of what we would like to say before 1913, the control of the purse. And that should have been in place with the city council. Whereas if we look at the amendment in section B, which is offered on the agenda today with 14005, instead of specifying the authority of the city council, it acknowledges the mayor first. It goes right directly to the administration initially. And this is kind of misleading to what may happen in the future for people who will be sitting in this seat who might not take the time to dissect the laws that have been passed by the state. They might not take the time to dissect what has even been passed by the city. We look at section D, which includes, it now moves from, again, the power of the city council, now adding the director of finance, a spending agent, and the mayor, rather than stating the powers that are, again, in the council based on 1144C. This is a municipality that was run by the state. It should be adhering to state laws. We move on even to section E. It gives charge of administration's financial affairs and the director of finance instead of the council. So that means if it's something that has to be changed in the window of a contract, in the window of something that's put before the council, instead of it coming directly to the council, they now have authority to change this. And again, the financial affairs the Administration of Financial Affairs to the Director of Finance. So I kind of want to understand the definitions. Let's look at it, another example, where instead of what was offered by the City Council to take 30 days, we normally have a lot of numbers that come through this form here. The administration is now saying to take 14 days to even have any communication with the City Council about contracting. And then what was placed at a $15,000 limit has now increased to a $50,000 limit. And we've seen where we already know contracts that have went out that we have no idea of going out before. So we opened up this window now, increasing some $30,000+. There's no telling of what resources can be placed out when the state already gives that power to the council to administer in the first place. Look at another example, 14-3. That's where we're looking at bids going from 5K now to 15K. Look at 14.7. The contract adjustments going from 7.5K to 15K. Now, these may be small numbers for people who had bad backgrounds of just being very lucrative, but this is very alarming to the citizens if we see these numbers gradually increasing when there's already been an idea of not using the money correctly in the first place. So I just want to ask the question, are we moving forward with this as the council, these amendments that you all had seen, before, from what you had passed before? Because the contract, the resolution, or ordinance rather, in December looks nothing like what this is today. And I just want to know, with the confidence of where we're seeing resources going just any and every place now, we kind of need some security with these funds, because we're going to continuously say that we don't have resources to do things that can prevent these things. We have U.S. attorneys claiming that we're not going to allow the killing. We got things that could be fixed right here, so we can adjust the resources to be put in place to actually eradicate some of those problems. And if that's not placed, it's not going to happen.
That's it.
Mr. Richardson.
I can answer you. Give us 3 minutes and you'll know. You don't need 3 minutes. I can't tell you what nobody else is going to do, but we're going to all tell you what we're going to do when we vote. And it's the second item down. Just be patient. Give us 3 minutes, and everybody would know what the council.
Well, my main concern was had it been addressed before coming to this point now. If this has been what we adopted a month ago, the council passes.
You understand it because you read it to us. You read it what the mayor proposed, and now it's time to vote. We're going to give us 3 minutes and we'll vote.
Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Thank you for the time to speak.
Yes, sir. Madam City Clerk.
Ordinance is held over. 64004, rezone property at 5560 Todd Acres Drive from B5 to I1.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance passed.
14005, amend chapter 14 of ordinances for the City of Mobile entitled Contracts to provide for filing, disclosure, and other requirements for certain city contracts.
Motion to table indefinitely or
Second.
until Gabriel blows his horn.
Second.
Properly moved and second that this item would be tabled. Any discussion?
It's not on tape.
If not, let's vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item is tabled.
Consent resolutions held over. 37046, recommend approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a lounge retail liquor class 2 package store license for B&D package.
Madam City Clerk, I'm sorry. Mr. Woods asked to be acknowledged, and
Oh, okay.
I don't want to.
No, Mr. Chairman, no, you've already voted, so I think it's probably a moot point.
No, we voted.
Okay. All right. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Okay, consent resolutions held over. 37046, recommend approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a lounge retail liquor class 2 package store license for B&D package store on South Street.
So moved.
Second. I've had an opportunity to meet with the proprietor who's seeking this license, Mr. Bernard Wright, young entrepreneur. He's got some exciting ideas, including, hopefully in the next 3 months, repainting that building. It's a hideous yellow color right now. He's committed to repainting it to something much more aesthetically pleasing along Broad Street, and he's committed to being a responsible vendor, which is what we're seeking in District 2. And just want to remind everyone who seeks this type of license associated with liquor that I do ask to meet with the owners. You know me, I know you, and if there are issues, I know how to reach you directly, so that hopefully those issues can be mitigated. But I was impressed with this presentation and asked that we would move forward. With any further discussion, let's vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes.
Resolutions held over 25. Are there any objections to any of these?
No, ma'am.
Okay. 25096, granted easement to Alabama Power Company for removal of a rear lot primary fee location to Westwood Street. 21097, authorized contract with McCrory and Williams for Conception Street Road culvert replacement and McNally Park maintenance dredging. 60098, authorize a settlement agreement in the case of Elliott versus Guttins.
So moved.
Second.
Probably moved in second. Any discussion? Not. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Items passed.
Consent resolutions being introduced, 03100 through 6111.
So move. Oh, okay, where we are?
Consent. The consent resolution.
Oh, motion to suspend the rules for me for consideration of resolution 03100 through 60111.
Second.
Probably moved in second. Any discussion? Not. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Rules are suspended.
03100 and 03122, reappointing Jeremy Milling to the Board of Adjustment and appointing Jefferson Sinclair to the Mobile Library Board. 08813, approved purchase order for the week of January 28, 2018. 09101, transfer monies from District 6 discretionary account and from capital project street beautification District 6 to Public Works Department for Greenlight Road beautification project. 37102, recommend approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a retail beer table wine off-premises only license for CVS Pharmacy on Airport Boulevard. 37103, recommend approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a retail beer table wine on off-premises license for Happy Sushi on Airport Boulevard. 37104, recommend approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a retail common carrier license for Perdido Queen Cruises on South Water Street. 37105, recommend approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a retail beer table wine off-premises only license for H&S Convenience Store on Jesse Street. 40106, 107, do we want to take 108 separately or? Okay, and 108 are declaring the structures at 5727 Deerwood Drive North, 453 Marine Street, 2908 O'Shell Road, public nuisances, and ordering them demolished. 58809, assess costs for removal of weeds, repeat weed lien group 25, 60, 110, and 111. Discretionary funds for contribution to the Mobile Medical Museum and contributions to the Bay Area Women Coalition serves a public purpose and approved payment.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved in second that we would move forward with these items. Any discussion? If not, let's vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Items passed.
CIP resolutions being introduced for the first time, 21112.
Motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of resolution, no, this is going to lay over.
It's $591. It's going to lay over by council rules, right?
Right, both of these are going to lay over by council rules.
Yes, one. Resolutions being introduced for the first time, 09114 through 21121.
Motion for 1 week by council rules.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? Not. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Well, somebody's not voting.
No vote was needed on that.
We're going to lay everything over.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're laying over some.
All right. I'm trying to get them out. I'm sorry.
Okay, announcement.
Announcement. Mr. Davis, any part of the announcement? Mrs. Gregory? No. I understand. Mrs. Rich?
Yes, thank you. This Saturday, February 9th, we'll be taking print for the tiles for the wall of the new splash pad. This is a very exciting project. We did it for the Playground Express, and there are 200 tiles available. So come on out. It's $20 per tile, and all of the funds will go into the splash pad amenities. We're looking at additional benches depending on how much we raise. Again, this will be from 9 o'clock till 2 o'clock on Saturday, February 9th at the Connie Hudson Senior Center, 3201 Hillcrest Road. I'd like to thank everyone, especially the personnel at the Senior Center who make that available, and also the USA Ceramics Department, who is very instrumental in making this project a reality. And also, on February 19th, there'll be a meeting for the community of District 6, and the topic is the map of Mobile. You know there's a 45-day comment period, and this will be an opportunity to learn what those proposed changes involve. This meeting will take place at the Connie Hudson Senior Center, 3201 Hillcrest Road as well, from 6:30 to 8 p.m. on the evening of February 19th, which is a Tuesday. Thank you.
Mr. Richard?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to announce that we will be resurfacing Sage Avenue from Imogen Street to O'Shea Road very soon. I think in District 5, I think they already have started resurfacing over there, but we're going to pick up where they left off on Sage Avenue. I just want the residents to know that. And we've had a lot of complaints from the businesses on Florida Street between Dolphin and O'Shea, all of the dust where they're doing some drainage work over there. I'm happy to report that we requested that they resurface that section of Florida Street. It has been resurfaced. I have a community meeting coming up on Thursday the 21st. For the Creighton community, it will be at the Dumas Western Center starting at 6 o'clock. We're going to ask all our citizens to please come out to that meeting. And for the sake of Black History Month, and we have the students here, I want them to listen to me, since a lot has happened to our ancestors since we've been here in America, and some may lead you to believe that they have made absolutely no contributions since we've been here. I want to start off by saying the cell phone was invented by Henry T. Sampson, a black man, and I'm just going to read what some of the things: air condition, a black man; the electric lamp, a black man; the elevator, a black man; traffic light, clothes dryer, refrigerator, helicopter, automatic transmission, lawn sprinkler, lawnmower, the Apollo moon bucket. The committee, the scientists that invented the atomic bomb that led to the end of World War II, was a Dr. Marty D. Taylor, black man, a part of those scientists. He's from Nemps, Alabama. He's my second cousin. If you go up I-65, you'll see the sign saying Nemps. That's where Marty D. Taylor was from. The automatic car wash, the iron board, the meat smoker, hearing aid, blood plasma, Dr. Charles Drew. The business of transferring blood from one human to another, saving blood to take it on the field to save the soldiers' lives. That was invented by Dr. Charles Drew, and he had a car accident right near the hospital. He died from the lack of blood because he was a black man. They wouldn't treat him. Vegetable oil, breakfast cereal, instant coffee. George Washington Carver took the peanut and made 300 products. He took the potato, made 800 products. He took the pecan and made 75 products. And we'll close out with, if you look at the news tonight, CNN or any of them, they're going to focus on the Capitol because that's where Congress, that's where they meet. On top of the Capitol is a statue. You know about the Statue of Liberty and you know where it is. But there's a statue that was up there 13 years before the Statue of Liberty. Lady Freedom. This is her. She stands atop of the U.S. Capitol. She was put there by a slave Philip Reed. You have to Google Philip Reed because you're not going to find him no other way because it's hidden. You can ask the people in Washington, D.C., they don't know what's on top of that Capitol. If they had put the Statue of Liberty up there, when you go to any shop in Washington, D.C., you can find a replica. You can't find a replica of Lady Freedom nowhere. You go to New York, any grocery store, anywhere you go, you can get a record of the Statue of Liberty. Because Philip Reed, a slave, made that statue, and he put it up there, him and his people. Just a little black history. Okay.
Mr. Small?
Thank you, Vice President Manzi.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to invite the citizens of District 3, especially in the Oakdale community, on this coming Saturday, February the 9th, as Councilman Richardson had told us that it is this Black History Month, that the First Baptist Church of Baltimore Street is celebrating its Black History program this coming Saturday at 12 noon. And I'm privileged that they are honoring me at the program on this coming Saturday, inviting all the residents in the Oakdale and surrounding areas to come out this coming Saturday at 12 noon at the First Baptist Church on Baltimore Street. On next week, I will be announcing our first district meeting of the year. Keep your ears and eyes open. I will be making that announcement on next week. Thank you, Vice President Manzi.
Thank you, Mr. Small, and congratulations, certainly. Thank you for all you do.
Amen.
Mr. Williams.
No, thank you.
Well, there's nobody there. No further announcements. Do I hear a motion?
Come on.
Probably moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor of adjourning? Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you all again for coming from Palmer Pillins. All right.